the only one left that hasn't come in, but let's do purpose citations right now if anybody has any. I think everybody said they're good so far. I do have a few. Matt Monteleone, Waterbury's not in yet. Peter Conti and Louis, just a great job preparing for this weekend. Our goal is for Monday morning, Hartford to be 100% up and running with warehouse management system, and that came to building a team, a tremendous input of people that are going to be working a lot of hours that have the skill set with the guns and understanding the system to get that branch up and running for Monday morning. So if all goes well, they will be on warehouse management system Monday. So that's for Pete Conti, Matt, and Louie, who really spearheaded that and handled that. So great job for you guys. My other one is, there's two, same thing, John Torrey and Gary Spiegel. We had an elevator problem. We thought we needed a new elevator. They took their time. They did their due diligence. They found one company that could repair it and still maintain its safety, saving us a lot of money. So John Torrey and Gary Spiegel. 2 weeks ago, we worked on addressing problems in an honest and calm manner. Over the next week, let's remind each other. I think we're slacking a little bit on this. So just a reminder, maybe make a note and check with the people that you see around you. Say, hey, don't forget what we're working on this week. We give everyone a warm welcome. So let's make sure we up our game with giving a warm welcome, whether it's at the counter, internally, outside of vendors. Let's up our game with giving a warm welcome. We had an overwhelming response of questions that came in, so Max is going to get to as many of them as he can, and we will certainly reconnect potentially in August to finish up on those and any others that come in. At this point, I'm going to hand it over to Max to go over. Are we recording?
We're recording.
Excellent. Max, it's all yours.
All right. Good morning, team. Happy Friday.
Good morning.
So, thank you for everyone that emailed questions in. You guys gave me a lot of great stuff to think about, and I'm going to try to cover as much as I can. There were some common themes that came up in the questions pertaining to kind of the direction of Vendor 2.0. Questions addressing, why are we changing? What is Vendor 2.0 and why evolve? Why change? What's wrong with status quo, right? Questions pertaining to kind of, how are we gonna change? If we're interested in evolving, right? How are we gonna get there? And where are we trying to get? Right? Where are we going? So I want to try to tackle those, and they're great questions, and I've a limited, time, so I'll try to keep it tight. So when you think about kind of how we got here, right, and the way, businesses have been run, in the 60s and 70s and 80s, and the way my dad ran the business, right, it was generally a leader, right, a president with their hands in everything, right, all aspects of the business, and totally effective, right, and it got us to this, amazing place of where we are, right. I mean, 200 plus team members, multiple locations, right. We're a preferred, vendor of choice for homeowners, contractors, designers, builders, and it's amazing. We got there, right, because of the vision, because of the team we have. With the style of management that's, really totally, normal and kind of standard best practice, right, over the past couple of decades, it was really about, telling people what to do and exactly how to do it, stay in your lane, if you will, right? And that's like, common, that's like how family businesses will run, right? It's totally fine. My vision is to help Vendor become, let's call it, a more sustainable organization. such that Bender's here to thrive for decades to come, right? So when we talk about sustainability, I'm talking about a proactive approach to running a business. I'm talking about forward thinking. If any leader, right, is kind of pulling all the strings, right, running the show at any business, it's challenging, it's scary. You know, God forbid that person gets hit by a bus and they're not here tomorrow, right? You're scrambling. It's like, what do you do? You know, that person's gone, and you know, you'll work through it. I mean, you'll figure it out, but there's going to be a lot of chaos. I mean, there's going to be a ton of stress for everyone, and lack of security, and just what does the future hold? And that's not necessary. You know, that's unavoidable. That's avoidable. So we're now deploying a different approach to leadership and a different philosophy on how to run a business. Imagine, Bender, when leaders provide information and direction, and there's constant communication between leadership and team members. Imagine, Bender, when leaders focus more on the relationship between team members and less on the specific direction they're giving the team. The leaders share the decision-making responsibility with the team members and allow people to own outcomes and share responsibilities. I was in a meeting a couple weeks ago with supply chain meeting with Dennis and you know, my dad, Mark, and Dennis was talking about stuff that's happening in the purchasing department. We're talking about how, you know, there's different team members working on specific functions and how we're trying new things. You know, we're pushing the envelope. We're looking at different technology, different thought process, way we can improve the way we order things to meet more customers' needs, right? And this is change, and change is scary, you know. And we brought up, well, what happens, you know, if this doesn't work? What happens if we scrape our knees? What happens if we fail? And Dennis said, you know, very, very pointedly, he said, well, I own it, right? I'm empowering my team, right? Whether we hit it out of the ballpark, right? Or whether things don't go as planned, right? I own it, and we're gonna figure out what we did right. We're gonna figure out what we did wrong, and we're gonna course correct. And that's huge, right? That's just one example, but that's what I want for all of Bender, right? We're team leaders, supervisors, branch managers, whatever it is, right? Are working with their teams and trying new things. Imagine, Bender, when leaders delegate responsibilities to the team and then monitor their progress. So we're on our way there, right? All of executive management, including myself, is trying these type of leadership approaches rather than like what I've at least done in the past, right? My natural state is command and control, right? It's do this is how you do it, you know, thanks, have a great day, right? And once again, there's nothing wrong with that. That's my natural state, but I don't think that's what's going to get us to where I know we can be, right? We got to empower everyone in this room. So a lot of people, you know, have asked about how are we going to get there, right? This is nice. People have said, you know, hey, you have these, you know, great ideas of grandeur, right? But like, how in God's name, where does the rubber meet the road, right? So we've decided to deploy this model called EOS. And for those of you that can see it, that's basically the framework up there on the wall, right? Or on the blackboard. So you have your business in the middle, right? And then there's these 6 different components. So you have the vision, data, process, people, issues, and traction. I'm not going to bore you guys with all the details of all of it because Mark and I could talk to you about EOS for days on end. But it's a process that combines everything about a business, right? From where we want to go, what we need to look at to make sure we're on our way there, making sure everyone's set up for success. Some of you have heard about the GWC, right? Get, want, and have the capacity to do your job. Issues, right? Things that come up, making sure we're removing those obstacles, those barriers, and process, right? And there's room for constant improvement and evolution on all of those. But I believe that by utilizing this tool and focusing on those 6 main areas, that we get traction, right? And that's where the rubber meets the road. That's the rocket fuel. And we're working on all those things. So that model is going to be the framework to executing the vision, right? The vision is very simple. We want a supported and empowered team, right? We want to actively be involved in helping our teammates achieve their goals, not just within Bender, right? Personal goals, right? The more engaged we are with you guys in helping you pursue, your passions, your aspirations, and figuring out how to support you achieve them, even if it's not work related, right? That's going to help all of us. It increases engagement and helps you guys become the individuals you want to be. Investing in our people, right? Someone had asked a question. Matt Monteleone asked the question, and he said, "How are we gonna? Let me ask the exact question." So he said, "We looked into supervisor management leadership training program." So it kind of makes me think of how do we set everyone up for success, right? So we've started to do this on a small scale, right? I'm in Vistage, Mark is in Vistage, Steve and James are in leadership circle profile training, Sherry's in LCP training, right? We're starting to invest kind of from a top-down approach. I believe that the stronger executive management is and the stronger leadership is, that can cascade throughout the organization so we can support every person in every role to impact our customers. So in a perfect world, right, I'd love to give everyone, business coaches and leadership coaches and do that today, right? But then I have to report to the board and they're going to say, why do you have no profits and why are we losing money? So I don't have it nailed down to a science yet. I can tell you that we're talking to a current executive coach that we're using, trying to figure out if there might be a way to maybe like get him on the payroll for a day or two a week so he can touch and help more people achieve their goals and have the impact that they want to, drive the outcomes that they want to drive. More details to be determined, we're working on it, but I'm trying to figure that out with the executive team of how do we scale the support. So that's right, addressing investing in the people. I want team members that are going to be in a position where they can own their outcomes, right? I want to encourage, teams like Dennis was talking about, right, to take calculated risks, right? Let's learn from those wins. Let's learn how to reproduce them. And let's learn from our losses, right? There's nothing wrong, right? We have we have the old school mentality, right? The way businesses were run, this old school mentality that if you screw up, your job's on the line. If you screw up, your job is not on the line, right? Let's learn from our failures. What was the goal? Why didn't we execute? Let's figure out how to support you, get back on track, course correct. We're never going to grow if we don't try new things, right? The status quo is dangerous. All right, so this is a bold statement, but I really believe it, right? So this isn't about how much money can I make, right? This has nothing to do with me, right? When we get this machine functioning the way we want it to, I'm replaceable. Sammy in the warehouse is replaceable. It doesn't matter, right? We have a well-functioning and well-run machine. But I want everyone at Bender to make more money here than you can in your role than you could working anywhere else, right? Because people are bought in, they own it, they run it. You are in charge of your destiny and you're driving the outcomes with your teams. And for that, you should be well compensated. We're going to deliver top-rate customer service. I'd like to say 100% of the time. I'm not that crazy, so let's call it 99% of the time to all of our customers. And we're going to scale this business together. So I think a lot of these questions came up because I haven't done a great job cascading the vision, right? So in the past, we've been really I don't want to call it secretive, but not really transparent about, where we're going, what we're looking to achieve, sales numbers, profit, stuff like that. And a goal I have for over, let's call it the next year or so, is to figure out how to increase that transparency, right? So everyone just kind of gets it and sees the big picture and gets us all more in alignment. What I am comfortable sharing with you today is that using the EOS model, we created what's called a BHAG. It stands for Big, Hairy, Audacious Goal, right? And right, so like tech businesses, crazy startup tech businesses can like double and grow really quickly, right? We're an established distribution business, right? We sell stuff in a pretty competitive sector, right? I mean, you guys all know, right? We have tons of brick and mortar competitors. We have tons of e-commerce competition. It's not easy to grow share of wallet, right? Get more business from your existing customers, and it's not easy to get more market share. But with all of you guys, we're going to double the size of the business over the next 8 years. So originally that was a 10-year goal. We're 2 years into that, so we have 8 more years. We're headed in the right direction, right? So I want to get into more questions, and I'd like to focus on the people that emailed their questions in first, just because they spent the time to email questions in. So Ted, you had Ted said, hey, can you give us an update, on Vendor 2.0? I know there's some new things that have been created, right, regarding the organizational chart, right, utilize the increased communication, quarterly conversations. But what else has happened, since we started Vendor 2.0? And I thought that's just such a phenomenal question. Because some of you may know I'm just go, right? And I don't ever pause to think about, like, wow, holy shit, look what the team has accomplished, right? And I think it's really necessary to pause and reflect about, like, wow, like, look what we've done just in the past 6 months. So I wanted to share some of that stuff for you guys. So first of all, right, sales are up, right? Revenue's doing good. And that's because all you guys are driving outcomes, right? And pounding the pavement, forming those relationships, growing revenue. Like I talked about, we're developing this organization that can continue to support all of our families, right? We've hired a VP of marketing, Sue Silva, right, to provide guidance and direction and alignment within the marketing team. Previously, I was the one driving Jen and the team crazy, and I was doing a really crappy job at it, right? So we brought in a professional to help with that, right? And we've started to execute on consumer marketing, trade marketing. We've started to roll out a strategy called the Art of the Trade. Some of you may have seen that, really about collaborating and strengthening the relationship with trade professionals. A lot of our competitors are just focused on the consumer market. We don't want to forget that, but we can't forget who got us here, right? Which is the plumbers, the mechanics, builders, and so we're trying to strengthen that relationship. We have a new Norwalk branch manager. We have a new Waterbury branch manager. We have a supply chain director. And we're in the midst of a search now for a chief financial officer. Really looking to be strategic about how we deploy, money within the company, right? Making sure that, we're making wise investments for all of our future, right? I can't do that alone. I need all of you, and I need to surround myself with people that are smarter than me. And someone in that finance role is going to make sure that we're making worthwhile investments. We did some strategic shifts. We were in a buying group called LPG on the showroom side of things, and we shifted to a new buying group called, I'm losing it right now.
Forte.
Thank you, ladies. Forte. Forte is a completely different mindset. It's kind of the less is more, stronger, more intimate partnerships, focused on products that aren't just like massively distributed all over the internet in that race to the bottom approach, right? Focusing on really great products, great warranties, great looks that add value to our customers. Since doing that, we've formed new showroom partnerships. Someone asked a question regarding new lines on the showroom side of things. We've partnered with Galley Sinks. We have the exclusive distribution agreement for them for the plumbing channel in Connecticut. We're just now partnering with Crosswater, another buying group exclusive line. I know there's some more lines. There's a bunch more. There's 3 or 4 showroom lines that we've added that are limited distribution lines to support the showroom team and our customers. On the technology side of things, I don't want to go into all of it, but we're looking at different software to kind of help team members meet customers' needs. So when basically profitability is important, right? We're investing a lot in the business and hiring new team members. So looking at technology to help us make sure we're always competitive, but if there's opportunities where maybe we can pick up a couple more points because things aren't as price sensitive, capitalizing on that as well, right? We also brought in another technological solution called MITS, which we've started to roll out, and once again, change is difficult, right? So we're learning how to use this software, and it's going to be really in the weeds or as big picture as you want it software. So what I mean by that is we're going to be able to get alerts where, hey, this customer's off. Here's why they're off, right? They used to buy all their faucets from you. Now they're only buying toilets. Well, you didn't have to dig into that. You got an alert on it. Or, hey, Sammy's HVAC, right? They used to buy X amount of Goodman. They're only buying, line sets and disconnects now, right? Boom, in your face, actionable data. So looking at tech, which is really going to help you stay laser focused on achieving your goals. So we're going to figure out how to utilize that more and how to drive outcomes together more in Q3. Another team member asked about acquisitions. So I'll share what I'm comfortable sharing, which is we're working with Sue Silva, Marketing VP, and we're strategically analyzing if we were to expand, where would it make sense to expand, right? Sometimes growth for the sake of growth isn't necessarily the right thing, So we're analyzing things, like just to get it a little bit detailed with you, where are areas with significant household income? Where are areas where there's a lot of building permits being pulled? Where are areas where the market's not oversaturated with distribution? Where are areas where there is distribution, but maybe they don't have a strong succession plan and a strong team in place, so they don't, they're not really capturing what they could capture. We're starting to analyze all this stuff to figure out where are our next opportunities. I told you that we want to double the size of the business over the next 8 years. In order to do that, there will be acquisitions. So we're starting to strategically pursue where those will be. Ted also asked about, additional new lines. So we're all for, right? We deliver creative solutions for comfortable living, right? So we're all for the right new lines. I'm trying to learn from my mistakes, right? In the past, I'd say, guys, here's a line, showroom, this is awesome. We're going to kill it. Everyone's going to love this. We're going to make a ton of money. Here, go sell it. And I didn't have anyone's buying, right? So I'm like, if I try to force something down down the team's throat, I'm not going to get the results I want. So, right, we got not 100% support on Zern PEX, for example, but enough of the team was galvanized around it that they realized, hey, this is a great solution for our customers. It's going to save them money. It's going to offer value, and here's a new PEX system, right? Same thing with NAVAC HVAC tools, right? Here's a new, creative solution to add value. So we're always open-minded, and we're looking for ways to create a platform where team members can bring potential new lines to the table, and we can figure out how to scorecard, how to make sure, hey, this makes business sense. This is going to add value to our customers. How much, family money do we want to tie up in this, right? And really just getting into it and make sure that we're going to get the support we need to have the impact we want. But we're always open to what's another way we can add value to our customers. All right, so last one I'm going to do off of here, and then some of the people that sent in questions aren't here, so I'll connect with them offline. So someone asked about accountability, right? And what is accountability, right? Well, what does that look like, and what does that mean? Accountability means taking responsibility to the outcome of whatever you're working on, good or bad, right? In the past at Bender, we weren't real big on accountability. Maybe someone would say, hey, do this, work on this, and a team member might do it or not do it. And there was no either acknowledgement of, I shouldn't say there was no acknowledgement. There was room for improvement with acknowledgement when the needle was moved. And there was no accountability if the team member didn't do their job. So that's not fair for anyone, right? For the people that are getting it done and care about the business and treat it as their own and care about our customers and that are actively involved with making things better, that's not fair to them. And for the people that maybe who they report to wasn't clear with them, maybe there wasn't an understanding, maybe they didn't have the tools to move the needle, maybe they're in the wrong seat on the bus, right? And we just ask someone to do something that doesn't play to their strengths. Whatever it is, everyone needs to be set up to succeed, and accountability is a part of that. It's about giving teammates, the ability to own, their outcome, their role, and embracing, both successes and challenges. So I think that addresses most of this stuff. Like I said, I'm going to connect with some, people offline. Do we have time to?
We have time for a couple questions.
Yeah.
Anybody, questions? Show of hands. Anyone?
Come on, guys, you're making it too easy for me.
I got one for you, Matt.
Yes, sir.
What was the real, when we went on this purpose journey years ago, and I think that was the start, of all this, of the change. But like you mentioned, with all these new hires, that's obviously investing a lot of money. Is that solely on you, or was that something that you talked with Dave on when you are taking over the business to run the company? It was almost like you got in that position and you just hit the ground running. Is that something that you've been preparing for a while, or is that something that kind of came from above, I guess? Because it happened very quickly.
So I think if I'm clarifying your question, the perception from a teammate standpoint is that Max was announced CEO and all of a sudden, boom, everything started running. What were the behind the scenes and what led up to that?
Got it. So first thing is, right, so with purpose and stuff like that, let's call it purpose, right? So Bender behavior side of things, right? Leading with purpose, selling with purpose. As you know, Mark had been laying that foundation for years, right? about 2 years ago, my dad had been mentioning to me that, like, you know, basically just the evolution of life, right? You know, saying like, I don't want to be responsible for all of this, you know, it's just, it just didn't really want the weight on his shoulders. Don't get me wrong. He doesn't want to like leave, right? But just didn't want to have to own all of it, you know, and just have that at times burden of like, my God, you know, this is a lot of responsibility. And he'd been grooming me for a while, right? I mean, you know, it was kind of the evolution of, right, you know, I mean, starting on the counter in the warehouse, et cetera, and, you know, just kind of grooming me to come up the ranks. As we progressed through the past 2 years, and working with professionals to kind of make sure that we're, let's just say, right, family business is tricky, right? I mean, you have the family aspect of it, right, which is paramount. You always have to try to protect the family and everyone involved. Then you have the management side of things, right, leading the business. And then you have an ownership dynamic as well, right? So we've been kind of digging into and analyzing those three aspects of the business. And we started the EOS journey. How long ago was that, Mark?
Year and
Year and a half?
yeah, about a year and a half.
Year and a half. And there was two. I was basically in a role where my dad was the vision, and I was in charge of putting it all together, if you will. And then, as my dad said, okay, you know, things are going good. You know, I want to continue to be able to take baby steps to take in more of a step back, right? He decided, you know, to transition, and that's when I'd had a taste and knew, I don't know any other way to phrase it. Basically, the untapped potential. I mean, there's just like the sky is the limit. You know, it really is. So then, right, you give me the keys to the kingdom, and it's there you go. It's a wrap, baby. It's a wrap. Like, we're getting it done. So Mark had, you know, laid the framework with you know, the concept that Lisa articulated, all the purpose concepts, and tying that in with EOS, right? And that's rocket fuel. I mean, we are on our journey. So yeah, and now it's just, right, barriers come up, obstacles come up, and we're just gonna figure out how to knock them down and keep things moving.
So we are at 9:31, so we're gonna wrap up at this point. I think that it's important. Max had mentioned some of the accomplishments that we've done over the last 6 months, but there's obviously been a lot more. But I think it's real important that we'll give ourselves a hand at this point.
Hell yeah.
I just want to remind everybody, challenge yourselves, challenge your teammates. We give a warm welcome. Let's really work on over this next week, upping our game and really, really doing that. So challenge yourselves, challenge your teammates. Let's do that. Anything else in closing? Anything else we need to do? Why don't we let somebody close out besides Max, since he talked a lot today? I'm going to pick somebody. How's that? Matt Monteleone, why don't you close us out?
Oh, he's on mute.
He's unmuting himself.
So, great content, always good to hear stuff from Max and where we're going and his thought pattern. I'll preemptively thank everyone for going to Hartford this weekend, getting them up and running, and have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend.
I knew that was coming.
Yeah, high five.
Oh. Please.